Hello everybody and welcome to the beginning of the new Python for Ethical Hacking course. Now in this course we will be coding our own tools that we covered in the Ethical Hacking course. Now for some of you that are coming basically first to this course and didn't watch any other Ethical Hacking courses instead of this one, I'll make sure to make this course beginner friendly and explain everything as we go. We will start off by actually installing our environment, setting up our Kali Linux machine, which if you are not a beginner and you actually watch some of the Ethical Hacking courses, you probably already have the Kali Linux machine installed, so you can skip the introductory part and go right into the coding section. Now, what we will be doing in this course is, as it says, we will be coding some of our own tools that we will use for our ethical hacking attacks. Now, if you take, for example, any ethical hacking course, it consists of scanning, enumeration, basically exploitation, backdoors, keyloggers, brute forcers, and any other attacks on the websites, for example. There are lots of other things as well, but all of those things you actually perform with tools that other people created. Right now, what we want to do is actually code some of our own tools and make them useful for our future attacks. So, we will start off by coding some of the port scanners. For example, we will try to create something similar to the nmap. We will start off our attack by scanning the port, scanning the target, checking out for the banners for the versions of software running on the target system on an open port. And then we will proceed to actually exploitation and attacking, brute forcing SSH, for example, brute forcing FTP, and all other protocols as well. We will also code the reverse shell, which if you're coming from my previous ethical hacking course for beginners to advanced, you probably already have an idea what the reverse shell is, since I covered it in that course. But right now, what we will do with that reverse shell, we will take and add some different functions and try some different things with it, as well as actually maintaining everything we did in the ethical hacking course. Now, if you didn't watch that, don't worry, I will cover everything from the beginning in that program, and we will also cover everything in great details, as I will try to explain it the best even for the users who don't know anything about Python. Now the thing is, I will not be actually showing you the how to code in Python. Basically this is not a Python course, but I will, however, explain everything as we go and code our own tools. Since actually coding or teaching you how to code in Python will take a lot of our time, I will tell you everything that we are going through in great details. So don't worry, even if you don't have any previous experience, you can still attend this course and you can learn a lot from it. Now, as I said, we will start off by actually creating our virtual environment. We will need the Kali Linux machine. We will need the VirtualBox program as well. Now, the Kali Linux machine is where we will actually run our attacks, where we will code our own tools, where we will compile them and run them. It is good to say, or I should say actually, that you can also run all of these attacks on Windows, or not run, you can actually code on Windows if you want to. If you, for example, have Python on Windows, you can actually code all of these tools in Windows environment. Now, if we run into something that can't be run into the Windows environment, I will make sure to actually say that before we start coding. But for you to best follow this course, I would advise you to actually download Kali Linux, or if you have it, you can just run it up. For those of you who don't have it, I will show you in the next sections, or basically in the next videos, how you can download and install your Kali Linux machine. Right after that, we'll go straight into the port scanning section, where where I will teach you how you can actually code your own port scanner. So that would be about it for this introductory part. I hope you will enjoy this course. I hope you will learn a lot from it, and I hope you will use it for your own purposes as long as they are on the legal side. So that's another thing I should mention. Basically, please don't use this for anything that's not legal, such as scanning targets you do not own, such as attacking targets you do not have permission to attack, or basically anything that doesn't go into the legal side. So that would be about it. Hope I see you in the next lecture, where I will show you how you can download VirtualBox, the newest version, and Kali Linux 2019.8 version, or .a version, pardon me. So, hope you enjoyed this introductory video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye. Hello everybody, and welcome back. And in this video I will show you how you can actually download both VirtualBox and Kali Linux, the newest version. But if you have the older version, that one will work as well, I believe, even though you actually want to keep everything updated. And updating your VirtualBox, for example, is always a good thing to do. So we'll download the latest version of both of these programs, and we will try to make our own virtual machine. Now, as you can see right here, I already have both of them downloaded, which this is the installation file that we will use in order to install VirtualBox, which I have installed right here. And this is the Kali Linux 2019.1a version for the 64-bit machine. So, in order for you to actually download these two files, you need to go to these websites right here. So, one of them is kali.org/downloads, and there you will have the newest version of Kali Linux available at the current moment. Now, if, for example, in the time where you are watching this course, there is a different version other than 2019.1a, feel free to download that one as well. And if you have any other problems regarding that version being different than this one, feel free to post questions and I will be happy to answer them. So right now what we want to do is actually download the Kali Linux for our virtual machine. So as you can see right here, we have different types of Kali Linux models right here. We have the 64-bit, the Kali Linux LXDE 64-bit, the Lite version 32-bit, and a bunch of other versions as well. Now, the two versions that you should focus on are the Kali Linux 64-bit and Kali Linux 32-bit. Now, figure out what your main PC is. For example, my Windows 10 machine, which is this machine right here, on which I am on currently, is a 64-bit machine, so I will download the Kali Linux 64-bit version. Now we can see the size of it is 3.3 gigabytes, and we can download it both from the browser and from the torrent. I will click here to download from the HTTP. This will take some time, that's why I already downloaded it before this video started, so I will not be downloading it now. You make sure to wait until all of these 3.2 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes are finished, and after that you can continue with the downloading of VirtualBox. So once again, if you have a 32-bit PC, download the 32-bit version. And after you do that, you want to go to the VirtualBox website, which is right here. So let me go one directory back. You just type in VirtualBox in your Google search bar, and you just click on the first link that pops up, which will be Downloads Oracle VM VirtualBox. This will lead you to this page where you can actually pick which one you want to download. As we can see, VirtualBox, the current version is 6.0.4. The platform packages, as we can see, they are separated for Windows hosts, OS X hosts, Linux distributions, and Solaris hosts. Now make sure to pick the version on which your main software, or pardon me, main operating system is running. For me, that is Windows, since I'm using Windows 10. So I'll just click right here on Windows hosts. And as you can see, it will start downloading the VirtualBox 6.0.4 version for me. Now this is a lot smaller file than the Kali Linux 2019 version, so this shouldn't take too much time to finish. But I already have both of these files, so I will actually close this and I will show you how you can install the VirtualBox in this video. So once both of these files are downloaded for you, I can close this right now. We do not need it anymore. What you can do is actually paste them both on the desktop, as it will be easier for you to find them. And right now we are only interested in this file right here. So this is the installation file for our VirtualBox. Now before I actually install it, let me close both of my machines. So just close it like this. This is just a virtual machine, and this is the actual interface of our VirtualBox, which I will show you just in a second, right after I show you how you can install it. So what you want to do is double click the installation file. It will say preparing to install, and basically all you want to do is just click next on every question it asks you. So right now, if I click here next, this part right here is something you won't have. Now, I have this because I already have VirtualBox installed, so it asks me modify, repair, or remove installation, since it can't really install it twice. So I will just remove my current VirtualBox. I will just click here remove. As I said, you will not have any of that. You can just proceed to the next step. I will click here yes. It will remove my VirtualBox currently, as we can see right here. It should be removed any second. And right after that finishes, I will show you the true process of installing VirtualBox, which will be basically just clicking next on every step. As we can see, I don't longer have the VirtualBox right here, so I will just click here finish. I will double click this once again, and we can see I will just go next on every step. So create start menu. If this is not checked for you, make sure to check it, so it actually creates a desktop icon for you on your own desktop, so you can actually easily navigate to the VirtualBox. So just click here next, proceed with the installation, yes, and then install. This shouldn't take too long. It will prompt you for the administrator password. Basically, if you allow this application to make changes, you press yes, and this will download in just 10 or 20 seconds or something like that, and you will be good to go. Then you can open the VirtualBox and we can proceed to the actual creation of our Kali Linux virtual machine. So it has finished. As we can see, we want to check right here Start Oracle VM VirtualBox after installation and click here Finish. Now we wait for the window to open up, this same window you saw previously, and this is something that you won't really have. So all of these are virtual machines that I actually created before. You will not have any of these if you are currently installing the VirtualBox for the first time. If you are not, if you already have Kali Linux machine and VirtualBox installed, you're probably skipping this section anyway. So all you have to do right now is actually click here on the new button right here. Now this new button right here basically presents the new virtual machine. So once you click on this, it will ask you for some of the questions in order to create for you the new virtual machine that you will use. So right here, you can name the machine anything you want. This is basically the name of your machine. I will name it Python Ethical Hacking. Doesn't even matter, you can name it anything you want. What I will do right here is, this is the important part. In the type, you want to select the Linux, since we are using the Linux operating system. And right here, you will have a bunch of these options for the Linux version, and you want to select the Debian 64-bit. Now, if you installed Kali Linux 64-bit version, you select here Debian 64-bit. If you install Kali Linux 32-bit version, you want to select here Debian 32-bit, since Kali Linux is actually based on Debian. That's why we are selecting Debian right here. So once you make sure everything is good, you have the type Linux, the version Debian, and then 64 or 32-bit. You gave it a name, and this is the folder where the machine will be saved. You proceed to the next step. Now, the next step is basically the memory size which you will give to your virtual machine. Now, this is basically your RAM memory. So for example, as you can see right here, I have 8 gigabytes of RAM memory on this PC, and I want to choose how much RAM memory I want to give to my virtual machine. Now, what this means is basically, if you have 8 gigabytes like me, and you give 2 gigabytes to your virtual machine, every time you start up your virtual machine, the virtual machine will actually occupy 2 gigabytes of your RAM. So for your main machine, there will be left only 6 gigabytes. So make sure to not select too much right here, or it might actually make your PC crash. For example, if I just type here 8 gigabytes, it will not even open the machine, since there will be no memory left for my main PC. So I would advise you to put like 2 gigabytes at least. You can go with 1 as well, I believe, but you don't really want the machine to run that slow. So all you want to do is just select the memory that you are capable of giving to the virtual machine. For example, if you have 4 gigabytes, you can technically give 2 gigabytes for the virtual machine, but it might be running a little bit slower since you only have 2 gigabytes left for your main machine. But it doesn't really matter. For now on, we just want to select the appropriate memory for our virtual machine. Click here next, and you want to select create a virtual hard disk now, and click here create. It will ask you what file type of the hard disk you want. You just click here next, which is selected as VirtualBox disk image. Dynamically allocated. What this means, basically dynamically allocated, it will not fill up the space as you use the machine. Now the fixed size, if you for example give 50 gigabytes of your hard disk memory to this virtual machine, it will already make those 50 gigabytes as full. You will not be able to use them or to do anything with them unless you delete the virtual machine itself. The dynamically allocated will however not take any memory right now, but if you actually use it can take up to 50 gigabytes of memory. So click here next. I will just leave it on dynamically allocated since it creates it faster, and all it asks right here is the confirmation of the name and the amount of memory you want to give it from your hard disk. Now if your hard disk is for example 1 terabyte, you can give it 30, 20, 40 gigabytes however you want. Make sure to not go below 20 gigabytes. So I will give this machine around 30 gigabytes of memory. So 32 doesn't even matter. I will click here on create. And right now, as we can see right here, we have Python ethical hacking, which has Debian 64-bit icon right here. You can see the specs of our virtual machine right here. And we will continue to actually installing Kali Linux itself in the next video. So, hope everything went right for you. We will continue with adding our ISO file that we received from the Kali Linux downloading process. And we will use it in order to run our operating system on this virtual machine that we just created. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye! Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third video of our introductory part. Right now, what we want to do is install our Kali Linux machine and get it to actually work. Now, this is a process that can take a little bit of time since the installation process takes around 30 to 40 minutes on average, but this is something that we need to do in order to actually have our hacking environment set up. So what you want to do is start up your VirtualBox, so just click on the double icon right here. If you didn't install VirtualBox, make sure to check out previous video in order to see how to do that. This installation file, you do not need it anymore, you can just delete it and start up your VirtualBox. So right now we can see that right here we have our Python ethical hacking machine. Basically all you have to do right now is actually add this ISO file to the virtual machine storage before actually starting up the machine with this button. So how can we do that? We can do that by selecting the virtual machine and then going to the settings right here. So right here you will see a bunch of different settings for our virtual machine, such as system settings, display, storage, audio, network, serial ports, USB, and so on and so on. So let us actually go through these settings right here in order to see if everything is correct. So this is something we specified in previous video. This right here is not really important to us. On the system part, you can change your RAM memory if you want once again. If you think you gave it too much or too little, you can change it right here. The processor part is something that we didn't see in the previous video. Basically, this part right here allows you to actually give your virtual machine more CPU cores. For example, it will by default leave your machine on the 1 CPU core, but you can, for example, if you have a really good PC with like 6 or 8 cores, you can just give it 4 or 3 or anything, any number you want, but make sure to not give it too much as it will leave a little for your main PC. So what I will do, I will just leave it on 1, and this right here is basically the percentage of core being used for your virtual machine. So if you just leave it on 1 and drop this to 50%, for example, what this will do, the virtual machine will only use the 50% of your 1 core, which is not enough, or maybe it even is, I never tried it. What I will do is I will leave 1 core to be used by our virtual machine, and I will give it 100% of power from that core. The acceleration is something that we do not care about, so make sure to check this if this is okay, this one as well. And next thing we want to do is go to the storage. Here we will add our Kali Linux ISO file. So what we want to do is first of all delete the empty attachment right here, so remove it, remove, And under the controller IDE right here, you will have this disk with a plus right here. All you want to do right now is actually just click on this. So click on the disk with a plus. It will ask you, do you want to choose disk or leave empty? We want to choose the disk that we want to use. And what this disk is basically, it is our ISO file that we want to run as an operating system. So if you can't see it right here, which you most likely won't be able to see it, just click here on the Add button right here. It will lead you to your Explorer where you can navigate to the desktop or wherever you saved this ISO file and select it. So it is right here. I will click here Open, and I will double click it right here. As we can see, right now we have the Kali Linux 2019.1a AMD 64-bit version.iso. Once you select all of that, you can click here OK. The network part of settings we will cover later on after the installation, but for now on we are good to go, so just click here OK. Once you finish that, you are good to go and you can actually start up your virtual machine running Kali Linux. So just click here on this green arrow right here, which says Start. It will open up this window, which is our virtual machine. As it says right here, VirtualBox version 6.0, and all we want to do right now is actually select either one of these two options, so graphical install or install. Now you can proceed to go with any of these two you want. Basically they are the same, just the graphical install is a little bit prettier, but I'm used to going with the regular installation, so I will just click here enter on the install. Now before we continue, you might have noticed, let me just enlarge this so you can see it better. You might have noticed that we can't actually navigate with our mouse anymore. So in the installation process, you can navigate only with the arrows and with the enter. So click here either graphical install or regular install, and this will start the process of installation of Kali Linux for us. Now, during this process, it will ask a bunch of questions, which I will make sure to show you what you need to answer in order to get this to work correctly. So this is something that really is up to you, so you can select any language you want. I will just proceed here with the English. And the select your location is also up to you. Select your own location, or it doesn't even have to be your own location. I will just select your United States, even though I am not from the United States, I'm from Europe. And this is the configuration of your keyboard. So this can be a little bit tricky if you're used to, for example, QWERTY part and not QWERTZ. So make sure to check that out before continuing. Or, for example, if you have a different type of keyboard configuration, you can select it right here, as there are a bunch of others as well. What I will do is I will go with the American English, and this will finish up with the questions currently. Right now, as we can see right here, it is loading some additional components, so we will let this run. And hopefully our process of installation goes without any errors. Now once again, if you encounter any errors, make sure to post a question and I will be gladly answering you on your problem. So we can see configuring has finished. And right now, it asks us configure the network. Please enter the hostname for this system. The hostname is a single word that identifies your system to the network. If you don't know what your hostname should be, consult your network administrator. If you're setting up your own home network, you can make something up here. Now, this is completely up to you what name you will specify right here. I will just leave it as Kali. Basically, this is just something that will pop up in your terminal every time you open it. So you can just type here anything you want. I will just go with Kali. So navigate with your arrows to continue and press here enter. It will ask you to configure the domain name as well, which we do not need at the moment. So right now I will just leave this empty and click continue here as well. So right now it will ask you for your root password. Now here you basically type any password you want. Make sure to remember it, or else you will not be able to log into your root account on Kali Linux machine. So just type here anything you want. In my case, I will just use test1234. As you can see, if I go on to the show password in clear, oops, Yeah, arrows don't seem to work. Okay, so here it is. You need to press spacebar in order to show password in clear. So test 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will go to the continue, where it will ask me to actually re-enter the password. So re-enter once again, test 1, 2, 3, 4, and go to the continue. Configure the clock. So basically, this is also optional. I mean, you do not really need to select your own time zone. You can just go with anything you want. But if you want to have the correct time and everything correctly, you can just specify the correct settings. So I'll just go here with Eastern. And let's see what will pop up next. I believe right now it might actually start the... Oh, there is the partition disk. I forgot about this part. So all you want to do right now is actually just click here, enter on the guided use entire disk. Now the encrypted disk will not install since it is not really needed for this course. So we will just go with the guide use entire disk. Click here, enter. It will select disk to partition, and you will most likely have only this one disk that you selected, which is around 30 gigabytes as you remember when I specified it. So just click enter on that one. And for this part right here, you want to select the all files in one partition. As it says right here, it is recommended for new users, and if you're watching this video, you're most likely a new user of this, so you want to go with this so it doesn't present us any other problems. So just select here all files in one partition, click enter, and right here click finish partitioning and write changes to the disk. What this will do is it will ask us once again if we are sure we want to write the changes to the disk, as it says right here, if you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disks. Now don't worry, this is only referring to your hard disk that you specified in the creation of virtual machine, which is only 30 gigabytes if you specified it like me. So this will only change write changes to that section of your hard disk. So write changes, yes, and this will actually start the installation itself. So what we will do, we will let this run, and I will see you as soon as a question pops up or anything that we need to answer in order to continue the installation process. So here we are at our first question that popped up, which is the configuration of the package manager. Now it says right here, a network mirror can be used to supplement the software that is included on the CD-ROM. This may also take newer versions of software available. Now what you want to go right here is select here yes, use a network mirror, so click here on yes. And the next part right here is the HTTP proxy information, which we do not really need to specify. So right here we can only just continue without typing in anything right there. Now what this will do is it will actually configure the APT as it says right here for a few moments, and then soon I believe it will prompt us with the grub bootloader question, where we actually want to select yes and install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. Now don't worry, I will read it out loud once the question pops up, and I will also tell you what you need to do. And I believe right after that, that will be the last question that will pop up, and the process of the installation of Kali Linux will finish then, and we can boot up into our new Kali Linux machine. So let's just wait for this configuration of the APT to finish, and then we will continue. So let's wait for this. So here it is. I believe right now it will prompt us with the question. Not really sure why the screen is blue, but hopefully it will go away soon and we will get our question prompted. So here it is, installing grub bootloader, retrieving file 1 out of 3, and I believe right now it will prompt us with that question I was talking about. And here is the question. So you can read it if you want, or I will read it right now, as it says, it seems that this new installation is the only operating system on this computer. If so, it should be safe to install the grub bootloader to the master boot record of your first hard drive. Now you might be asking, well, this isn't really our first installation operating system. You have your main Windows machine, for example, system, but this is not referring to that. It does not know that it is run as a virtual machine. So basically, for this virtual machine, this is the first operating system, and we want to actually install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. So right here, select here yes and press enter, And all you want to do right here is basically device for the bootloader location, scroll down to the /dev/sda and click here enter as well. Now this will continue, or basically this will finish the installation of Grub bootloader, and this will also finish the installation of our Kali Linux machine. This is the last part, as it says right here, finishing the installation. Now what it might actually do is it might prompt us with something like unplug your USB drive after a certain point of this installation, but we really do not want to do anything there, since it is referring to anyone installing this operating system on a main PC as a main operating system, because they would most likely be doing it via USB drive with the burnt disk image on that USB drive. But since we are not doing that at the moment, and since we are not really installing a real main operating system, instead we are installing a virtual machine operating system, we will just proceed with that question if we even get it prompted. So let's wait for this installation part to finish. And here it is, installation is complete, so it is time to boot into your new system. Make sure to remove the installation media, we don't care about this, just click here continue, finishing the installation. And as soon as this finishes, we will be able to start our Kali Linux machine. I believe this will not take more than a minute or two, so don't worry. The longest part of our installation has actually been finished already, which was the installation part itself, and this is just some additional packages it needs to install or configure in order for our Kali Linux machine to actually start. So here it is finished. Right now we are rebooting or booting into our Kali Linux machine. Right here you can just let this run by itself, or you can press enter. It will load some of the components and it will start up our Kali Linux machine. Now I need to show you how you can log in, since if this is your first time, which it most likely is, you need to know the username, and you will also need to know the password that you specified in the installation process, so make sure to not forget that. The username for the logging into the root account on Kali Linux is basically just root, so you just type under the username section root. It will be the same for everyone, and after that it will prompt you for a password where you actually just type the password that you specified in the installation process itself. So right now we will wait for that window to, or basically for that login to get prompted to us, and then we will specify everything we need in order to log in. So here, this is the login screen of the Kali Linux machine. You just type under the username root, and under the password you just type basically the password that you specified in the installation, which in my case it is test1234. Press enter and it will prompt you with your desktop for your Kali Linux machine. Now I will not be explaining in details the environment of Kali Linux itself, since this course is not really aimed towards that. So with a little bit of actually exploring additional videos or additional parts of the internet, you can actually find out a lot of great things about Kali Linux if you are new to it. Of course, I will make sure to explain everything that we use and everything that we need in order to actually make our programs. And also, if you might notice right now, since we are at the login screen, you might notice that our screen isn't really that big. It is only squared to this part right here. We want to make sure that our Kali Linux machine is full screen, so we can get the full quality of this video, and we do not need to really watch a small screen display. So I will show you that in the next video. That is something that you should really do in order to get the best out of this installation. So that would be about it. As we can see right now, we have our Kali Linux machine opened, and I will show you how to make it full screen in the next video, as well as some additional stuff you might need to do. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next lecture. Bye! Hello everybody and welcome back. And in this tutorial I just want to show you how you can make your Kali Linux machine a full screen. Now I already recorded this video, but for some reason the video didn't have audio on it. So you might be asking, why are you not just redoing the video and showing us everything from the beginning? Well, basically something really interesting happened, and by interesting I mean there was an error that occurred, and I was still able to get the full screen mode in Kali Linux, but I just want to show you how you can get it And if you encounter the same error, what you need to do in order to actually get your Kali Linux into the full screen mode. Now that's why I will be running just the actual video of the screen recording that I saved while I was trying to make my Kali Linux full screen. I will narrate over it, don't worry. Let me just find which one was it. I believe it was the 23 minutes or something like that, so it was a rather long video. So here it is, and let me just put this into the full screen mode. So as you can see right now, I already, or not already, I still have the regular Kali Linux small box machine. It's still not full screen, and let me just show you what I did in order to get it to the full screen. So I opened up my terminal, as you can see right here. So just click on the icon on the left right here in order to do that, which you should know by now. Open your terminal, and here I'm typing the command prompt in order to open my command prompt on Windows, so I can show you what the terminal actually is in Linux. So basically both of these are actually the same. The command prompt, which you might have actually encountered sometime on your Windows machine, is basically just a program that allows you to execute system commands, while basically the terminal in Linux is the actual same thing. Just this is in Windows and this is in Linux system. So let us continue. Let's see what else I showed right here, which I can't really remember. I will just go over every step I did in order to get the Kali Linux machine to be full screen. So let me just see. I opened up my Firefox, and yeah, the reason why I opened Firefox is because we have to find the repository on the Kali Linux website, which allows us to specify the link in our sources.list file. Now, for those of you who are new, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but don't worry, this process, I will show the entire process of actually doing it. So what I did is basically I just opened the Firefox, then I closed these basically windows, these two windows that pop up by default, and I just want to actually go to the official Kali Linux website. So as you can see, I'm typing right here Kali repositories. So I just type repository and forgot even to finish the sentence, but it doesn't even matter. What you need to type in Google search bar is Kali repositories on your Kali Linux machine. Once you do that, you will go basically to the first link, which is Kali docs-Kali Linux, which is on the official site of Kali Linux. As you can see, this is the link. And all you want to actually find is the resources that we want to, or the repositories that we want to actually specify in our apt sources.list file. And those repositories, as you can see, I'm trying to find them. Here they are. You need to actually get the Kali rolling repository, as I'm specifying right here. So you just go down, scroll down, and copy this part right here. Copy the entire link. As we can see, currently I am copying it, so we can specify it in our sources.list file. Then let me just go right here. So I opened after that my terminal, and right now what I will do is I will navigate to the sources.list file. Currently I am in the root directory, and I will navigate with the command called cd. As we can see, this ls command, once you type it in your terminal on Kali Linux, it will just list the directories in the current directory. So these are all the folders in my root directory. And with this cd etc, I'm changing my directory to the etc directory. And right now, if I specify ls once again, you can see in that directory, here is our sources.list file that we need. Now let me just go a little bit back. So what I did right here is I used the command nano sources.list, and what nano command does basically is it opens something similar to the notepad, so you can edit the file in there. It is a program that comes pre-installed in Kali Linux, and you can use it to nano any program, any file, any text file in order to see its contents and in order to change its contents. So we want to nano the sources.list file, which we found in the /etc/apt directory, which we navigated with this command cd /etc/apt. Once we open that file, you will see that this is specified in that file. Now, we already have the the thing that we copied, as we can see if I paste the thing that I copied from the Kali Linux official website, you can see that these two links are the same. Now if in your case they are not the same, what you want to do is you want to actually delete one, or not delete one, you want to paste the one that we copied in case that the one that I opened right here is not present. But since you can see in my case I already have two the same links, so I will not need this one. So as you can see right now, I will delete it from here. All these other links that are under the hashtag are the links that won't be used, and don't remove the hashtags from them since we don't really need them currently. So all you have to do right now in order to save this, so as you can see I'm just showing you what hashtag does, you need to leave it like this, so with one link. You want to Control O to save. Let me just see when do I do that. So it should be Control O to save, then Enter, then Control X to exit the program. So let's go a little bit forward. As we can see, I press Control O, it asks me file name to write, sources.list, you press there Enter, and then you Control X to exit. So let me just go forward, and as we can see, right after you do that, this is the command that you want to run, apt-get and then update. So once you run that, it will take a few seconds to finish, so let me just move that. As we can see, it finished. I use the clear command to clear my screen, which is an optional, you don't really need to use it. And the next thing I do is apt install linux -headers. Now let me just see when I write the full command right here. So I will explain everything this command does, even though it doesn't really matter, you just need to run it in order to install the headers. And basically what this command does is it installs the Linux headers currently needed for our Kali Linux version. This command uname-r, if typed in terminal, will basically just print out the version of headers needed, or the version of headers that are currently on your Kali Linux machine. But with this command I specify to install the headers that are already made for my Kali Linux version with this command right here. So we let this run. It shouldn't take too long. Oh yes, here is the error that I encountered, which is basically a lock appeared. Anytime you actually get this error during the installation of any program or apt update and upgrade, it will say could not get lock and then the path to the lock. Now there are 3 locks, and in case you get this error, all you want to do is actually delete all these 3 locks. Now if you don't get this error, don't worry, you might not even get this error, but in my case I did get, so I had to delete all of those 3 locks. The first one is specified with this path right here, so you just use the rm command, which stands for remove, and then you just copy this path right here and paste it after the rm. This will delete the lock at that path, and then you can proceed to download. But as you can see, there will be a second lock that will appear on different path, and you will need to actually delete that one as well. So as we can see, I removed the lock right now, and I try once again, and right here you see that I actually have another lock on different path, so you just copy this path as well, and you perform the same rm command in order to remove that lock. As we can see here, I am explaining that, so let us remove it. As we can see right now, I removed it, and I tried to run the apt install Linux headers once again, and this is where I got another error for the third lock and last lock, which you need to delete before you actually are able to download this. Now the lock is at this file, so you just copy this file, you specify rm once again, and delete the lock at that path. And right now, if you run the apt install Linux headers once again, you will be good to go, and you will be able to actually download them in case you don't have them. Now in my case, let me just go this way forward, in my case it was already the newest version, so I didn't have to download. Now let me see what I did next. So I will just forward this. Okay, so right here, after that, what I did is basically I went to my, let me just show you because I already passed it. So after you install the Linux headers, where you want to go is you want to go right here to the devices. So let me just let this run. So devices. Then you want to insert guest edition CD image. So click on that. As we can see, I clicked right here. And it will prompt with this window saying, contains software intended to be automatically started, would you like to run it? What you want to do is press cancel right here, since we do not want to automatically run it because it won't really work. So what you want to do is run a few commands and basically install the VirtualBox Guest Edition themselves, and you will be good to go and be able to actually get the full screen Kali Linux. As we can see right now, I'm installing some VirtualBox Guest utilities, as I believe that I did it. So let me just see right here. apt get install VirtualBox and then minus guest minus utils. So you just press here Y. If it asks you do you want to continue, you press here Y for yes and N for no. And it will download those utilities for you. So let's go forward. Not really sure how long this took. It took quite some time, so a few minutes. It didn't prompt any questions during the installation. And right after you do that, what I did, oops, let me go one step back. So right after I did that, I changed my directory to this directory. So I changed my directory to media, and from there, I want to change my directory to CD-ROM 0. Since there is where my VirtualBox guest editions are, which I imported previously with devices and then insert VirtualBox guest editions. So I go there, I will probably type CD, okay, so here it is. And then we can see a bunch of programs right here. The program that we're interested in is the VBox Linux Editions.run. All of the other programs, as you can see, these .exe programs are for Windows. So you want to copy the VBox Linux Editions.run, and what you want to do is basically just run that file. So as we can see, in order to run that file, you need to type sh and then // and then the name of the file itself. Then you can press enter, and this will start actually downloading or installing the VirtualBox Guest Editions for you. It says, do you wish to continue? I just pressed here yes, and it started installing it. So let me just forward this, so we don't wait for the installation. Okay, so it is still installing, and here is the error that I actually got right after it. As it says, VBox client failed to register, resizing support. Now, this is the error that you might get or you might not get. Basically, as I was saying in this video, but the audio didn't really record it, I was saying that the installing of the VirtualBox Guest Editions is most likely different for every Kali Linux version, and it really often gives some errors back. But the best thing you can do is actually just reboot after the error, and it might actually even work after that. It probably will work, or unless you actually specified something wrongly in the commands and you actually get a real error. This is not something that we should be worried about, so if you get the same thing right here, don't be worried. As you can see right now, all I did was just reboot the machine with the reboot command. So let me just show you. So I typed reboot, and now my PC, or pardon me, my Kali Linux machine will actually restart. As soon as it boots, you can see that it actually booted up in the full screen mode. And I get prompted the login screen in the full screen mode. So as long as you do all of the commands that I did in this video in the same order, even if you get that error, don't worry, just restart your Kali Linux machine and you will have the full screen mode enabled. As we can see, once I log in, my desktop and everything else is in the full screen mode. So that would be about it for the actual going full screen in Kali Linux video. I just wanted to show you this. Basically, as I said, I didn't really redo the entire process itself, since I just wanted to show you in case you get the error as well, so you know what you need to do. So that would be about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye. Hello everybody, and welcome back. And in the previous videos, I showed you how you can actually install VirtualBox, Kali Linux, and your VirtualBox Guest Editions in order to have our Kali Linux machine in full screen mode. So right now, we can actually start to introduce ourselves with the Python environment in Kali Linux. So this is the similar desktop to before, to in the previous video. And right now, just open up your terminal. Basically, you can enlarge it if you want to. It doesn't even matter. I will zoom in just in case so you can actually see it a little bit better, which I will do with the view and then zoom in right here. It just makes you actually see this better and in larger letters. What I will do right now is I will actually make my terminal background not transparent, so you can basically see the code better once we actually start coding. So I will do that with the edit part, then preferences. Then let me just find it. Okay, so it is under colors section right here, transparent background. You can change it right here. I will just leave it to be completely black. Now you can leave it anything you want. You can make it fully transparent. You can make it different colors and so on and so on. But it is not really the part of our course. So all we have to do right now is actually open up the Python in order to show you the Python interpreter and how you can actually use Python in order to create programs in Kali Linux environment. So first of all, before we do any of that, let's ask ourselves, why are we even doing this? Why are we coding our own tools? Why are we using Python and not some other programming languages? Well, basically the idea behind actually teaching people how they can write their own tools is to differentiate you from basically anyone that's using the tools. Now, it is in the hacker world referring to as a script kiddie, is someone that always uses different people's tools and doesn't really know how they work in the background. Now, programming knowledge and coding those tools actually gives you an in-depth view and actually a better understanding of how those tools work and how does the process of attacking really work. And also, one more thing, those tools that you use from other people, that you either download from GitHub or that you actually get from the Kali Linux itself, since Kali Linux comes pre-installed with a bunch of different hacking tools, which will not be the part of this course. Some of those tools will break sometime. So what you want to do in case some of those tools break and you need them, you can learn to code them yourself and use them whenever you actually want. And for example, some of the tools are not really specified for a certain type of attack. So you can actually, with your programming knowledge and hacking knowledge, combine those two and actually create a tool that will be specifically for a certain attack, which you can't really do if you can't really code or you don't know how to code any hacking tools. You only know how to use tools from different people. Now, as I said before, this will also give you a better understanding of what is happening behind the scenes, since you will be the one that is actually coding the attack itself. Now, the reason why we are using Python is basically from two reasons. First of all, the Python is you can say the hacker's programming language, since it is a scripting language and it allows us to create programs really fast. For example, C is a low-level language, and anything we actually code in Python in this course will take a lot longer or significantly longer to code in C. Python is easier, and also basically I chose this language because I will not be teaching you the programming itself. If you are in the position to, please, you can just take any Python programming course, beginner course, it doesn't even matter. You can just look at some of the videos at YouTube so you can see the syntax for the Python. You will understand all of this a little bit better and easier, but don't worry if you don't want to or don't have time to do that. I will explain everything as well, just not in that detail, since we will be mostly focusing on the hacking part of the code itself. So, in order for us to actually open Python in Kali Linux, you just open up your terminal as we did right here, and all you have to do is just type Python. Now what this will do is it will open up the Python interpreter right here, where we can actually execute these commands or basically execute the program itself. Now Python interpreter is not really something that we will use in order to make our programs, but you can also always use it in order to test a certain part of the program, since it gives you the error right away. For example, there is an import function called import.os, which imports a library, and as you can see, if something like this happens right here, which you get 3 error and then 3 error once again, it means it executed properly. But if I try to import something that doesn't exist, which is OSS, it will give me a name saying no module named OSS. So this is Python interpreter. We can use it just to simply check our syntax if it is correct or not before actually putting it in the program itself. But another thing you might actually notice is that this is the Python 2.7.15 plus. So basically this is the Python 2. The Python 3 you can open, let me just show you how, with the Python and then 3. As we can see, Python 2 we open with just simply typing Python, and Python 3 interpreter we can all open with typing Python 3, which will lead to the same command prompt with these 3 arrows to the right, but this will be the Python version 3.6.8. So that is something you want to differentiate. That is how you can open Python. That is how you can use Python interpreter. Now let's see how we can actually write a simple hello world program and save it and actually execute it from our terminal. We do not want to use the Python interpreter. We actually want to create a program ourselves. So here, if you just type here ls, which stands for listing directories in the current directory in which we are, basically in order to check in which directory you are, you just type here pwd. It will print working directory as it says right here. P stands for print, W for working, and D for the directory. We are currently in the root directory, which is good. We want to be there. As you remember from the previous videos, you can actually navigate through the directories with the cd command. So for example, if you wanted to go to the documents, you could just type cd documents, press enter, and now if you just type pwd once again, we are in the /root/documents directory. But we want to go one directory back, which we can do with cd and then 2 dots. It leads you one directory back, which will lead us right back to our root directory. Right now, what we want to do is actually create the directory where we will actually save our Python programs that we will code. So let us make a directory. Now, in order to make a directory in a simple Kali Linux environment, you just type in your terminal mkdir, and then the name of the directory you want to create, which can be anything. In my case, it will be Python programs, because we are going to make Python programs and save them in that directory. You just press here enter, and if you just type here ls once again, we can see right now we have the Python programs directory as well as other directories that were there before. In order to go to our Python programs directory, we just type here cd Python programs, and we are now in our Python programs directory. And if you just type your ls here, you will see there is nothing in this directory, since it is a new one and we didn't have any file created at the moment. What we want to do is we actually want to create our first program, which will be a simple hello world program from Python. And then in the next videos and in the next section, we will continue, or basically we will start with our first hacking programs, which will be the port scanners, or basically scanning the target. So in order to actually create the program, you just type here nano, and then just specify the name of the program you want to create. In my case, I just want to call it test, and it needs to have the extension .py, since py stands for Python programs, and it must really have that extension in order for Kali Linux to be able to run it from the terminal. So nano that. And something you need to know while actually creating any program in Linux is that you need to specify the path to the Python libraries, which is the which you can do with hash and then exclamation mark and then /user /bin and then /python. This is something that you will specify at the beginning of every program that you actually code in Kali Linux, so make sure to remember this. Don't worry, I will also tell you this like every time that we actually code something, that you need to specify this path right here. And in order for us to actually print hello world, we can actually just do print, open brackets, close brackets, and between the double quotes, which is specified in the brackets, we can just type hello world. This is the entire program. Print function basically prints anything, or basically prints what is inside the brackets to our terminal, and we specify that it should print hello world. You specify a string to be printed out by putting it between the double quotes or single quotes. So let me just show you. Both single quotes and double quotes will work. You know it is a string when it actually turns green right here, so it changes color. Now this is not a must. If you, for example, change color from your terminal, it might be some different color, but it doesn't matter. You will notice when it is a string and when it is not. I will just use double quotes in this case. And in order to save this file or to save this program, you just type here Control O, then enter, as it says file name to write. You want to type here enter, so it writes under that name, and Control X to exit. In order for you to, for example, clear the screen, you can just type here clear, which will just clear the terminal from previous commands. And let's see if we type here ls once again, we now have our test.py. Now, for those of you who are really new to this, let me just explain what nano did. So nano, as we used it once we actually wrote our program, is basically opening our program, and actually it opens something similar to the, for example, notepad in the Windows, where you can actually write anything, whether it is text or part of code, and then save it to a file. As we did right here, we saved this part of code to the file test.py. So let's close this, and right now, if we just try to run this, which we can do with either typing Python and then test.py, if we want to run it with Python 2, or typing Python 3 test.py. Now, before we can actually run this, we need to make this an executable, since if I just press here enter, whoops, it actually doesn't need to be made an executable since I specified the Python 3. But if I wanted to run it as an every other program with // and then the name of the file, which is test.py, it will say permission denied, since that program isn't really an executable. So in order for us to actually make it an executable, we can just do chmod, which stands for change mod, and then +x. This +x stands for actually making a file an executable, which you will need to do for every file you actually code, and then you specify the name of the file itself, which in our case it is test.py. So this command right here will make our file executable, and if I just type here enter and press ls once again, you can see right now we have the executable test.py, and this command // and then test.py should now work. As we can see right here, we are able to run the program, which just prints up hello world. So I just wanted to show you this, how you can actually create a simple program which just prints hello world. Some of the commands this we will use, which is such as chmod +x, such as nano, which we will use to open the file in, for example, something similar to a notepad, ls to list files, then // and then the name of the file to run the file itself, and I also showed you the Python 2 and Python 3 interpreters. So that would be about it for this video. This is just a simple video where I explained why do we need to use Python and what we will be doing. So in the next section, we will actually start coding our scanning tools that we will use for scanning the target. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next lecture. Bye!